Hi class, welcome to week 3, or I guess it officially begins tomorrow. Happy Labor Day. So let's take a look at what's going to be required this week. Everything is going to be pretty straightforward. As you would expect, you have all of the learning objectives you would have for Chapter 2. This week, remember that your Learn Smart is always due if you're in hybrid class before you meet in class, and if you're in the online class, it's due by Wednesday at midnight, and that will be the case from here on out. In addition, you have your Chapter 2 activity, which you have 2 chances to complete, and that way you make sure you get everything right, and this is going to highlight you to important content that you will have learned in your Learn Smart. Your main project for this week is your 72-hour food diary, so let's talk about that. One of the first things you're going to do in order to prep for the 72-hour food diary is you're going to register with Nutrition Calc. And so this is your diet analysis program that comes with your textbook. You do not need a registration code or anything like that. When you are asked to log in, all you need to do is log in with your McGraw-Hill email and password, the one you set up with McGraw-Hill when you set up your Connect site. And then here, let's go to the assignment and let's take a look. The other thing that's going to be important as you are setting up your Connect information, and I remind you of this here too, is that you have tutorials available to you. And so you want to make sure that if you're not sure how to do something, that you utilize the tutorials. These are not links, these are images, so you can make sure that you understand the images that you need. So for example, if I sign in here, this is what you're going to see. And you're going to set up your profile and you're going to measure your intakes and your activities. Here is where you're going to report your reports. But before you email me, if you can't figure something out, you are going to watch a tutorial on how to do it. So let's go here to the assignment. First of all, it's important to note that this is a fillable Word document, okay? And so you want to go through and you want to read the instructions really well. The really big key of this assignment is not about you going on a diet, you changing any of your behavior, you doing anything different. This assignment really is about telling you exactly what you are doing. So what I would suggest is you will need to measure all your food. You will need to take an accurate assessment of everything you're eating. I would not measure your food before, I would measure your food after. For example, if you eat cereal every morning, I would pour your normal bowl of cereal, and then I would pour it back out in a serving container and then look at the serving size. Same with milk, things like that. That way you actually get a true assessment of what you're eating rather than measuring it out and then dishing it out, because then you're actually, without realizing it, probably counting your calories. Or having less if you think maybe your professor might frown upon you eating, 5 bowls of Count Chocula. So make sure that it's an accurate assessment. And then you're going to do this for 3 days in a row. And when you're doing this, you need to track it daily. You can't track it on paper and then put it in 3 days from now or anything like that. You need to track daily. You're going to answer these questions about your food intake, and these text boxes expand. So I want you to go through and answer these questions, and then you're going to get all daily reports, and that's a specific report you run in NutriCalc, and you are going to use those reports to answer these remaining questions. You're also going to turn these reports to me. If you do not turn in these reports, you will have a hard time getting bigger than a C on this assignment. I need your reports. So you're going to go on and then answer these questions. And again, text boxes exist for all of them. So you're going to look at your energy intake. You're going to look at where your energy came from. You're going to evaluate the type of carbohydrates you ate. One of the things that came up, and many times I've been having students do this for years, is without actually digging into the way they were eating, the NutriCalc will say, if you actually just look at the most simple of reports, will say, yay, you met your carbohydrate requirement. It's 45 to 65% of your total caloric intake. But they didn't actually eat any fruits or vegetables. Well, so that doesn't actually tell us the whole picture, right? If we just look at that one number. And so that's why you're digging deeper to actually see how much fruit did I actually consume? How many vegetables? What about refined grains? There's a difference between refined and whole grains. 50% of our diet should be coming from a whole grain, not refined grains. And when I say 50%, I mean 50% of that 45 to 65% that's allotted for just grain-style carbohydrates. Okay, we'll talk about this a little bit more in Chapter 5, but this is kind of introducing us to those concepts. So you want to make sure you read all these and complete all these questions. And at the very end, you have a space to write a paragraph. So I'm not looking for you to then answer each one of these questions. You are now reflecting on your process. And so you want to write a paragraph that reflects upon your process. These are meant to guide you in that reflection. This is due this Sunday, and so you want to definitely choose your 3 days. It'll take a little time after, so if I were you, I might want to start on Monday or Tuesday, or excuse me, Tuesday or Wednesday. I always forget today's Monday because it's Labor Day. And that way you can make sure you can complete it on time. And that sums up week 2. So we are learning a lot about how our food is governed as far as like the FDA and regulation, and learning about how numbers have been selected for the right ranges to consume and how much we can be consuming of each essential nutrient, and then how to read those food labels about those nutrients. And so I think that this will be a good week. I know that this material can be maybe a little bit more dry than some of the other stuff, but it's going to get wild next week, so just hang in there, and I hope you have a good week.